Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of your favorite TV shows, movies, and current events.
Yo, it's the Salaam Nerds. My name is Steve, aka Watson Keys. I'm here with my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. It's your boy Neebs, aka Watching Neebs, and I'm here with my co-host Death, aka DJ Goonies.
DJ Goonies. Yeah, that's a very appropriate description for this episode.
This episode, I am telling you, man, I love this show. And, listen, The Acolyte, I think it saved it at the end, but I didn't really enjoy The Acolyte as much as some other people did, which is fine. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people thought it was great. I am happy for them. I didn't find myself liking The Acolyte until the very end when things started coming together, and I was like, okay, cool. It's a good show. It ended pretty good, but I did not like the journey there. This, I'm loving the journey. I'm loving every episode. Like, it doesn't feel like an incomplete story. Every episode feels like a real story, and I am really enjoying the kid-like feel. Who knew making Star Wars for kids would bring the joy back in Star Wars?
Surprise.
We forget often the Star Wars is for kids, and I feel like this show captures that magic, and I really, really am enjoying it. How about you?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. I know a lot of adults watch Star Wars because that's just their thing.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing this TikTok recently of Hayden Christensen getting his flowers finally.
Right.
Yeah, and it's because the kids from the prequel era are now the adults and who can show up and do this, right?
Right.
Star Wars is always meant for kids, and you see that through how people love Hayden Christensen, even though when the prequels first came out, people hated the movies and they hated his acting.
Yeah.
But it's the kids who really are cheering it on now, or who were kids back then, and the kids now. They're the ones who are really pushing Star Wars forward, and it is a kid show, completely fine. I watch a lot of kid shows. I mean, hell, I got you to One Piece. It's technically a kid show.
That is true.
Yeah, and they can be powerful. They're great.
And even then, it's like people are like, well, you're alienating our fan base and stuff like that. And that's always been the plan. As someone who's had a marketing degree along my engineering degree, there is a thing where you have to make sure that your product sustains through time, because what happens is a lot of the people, not all but a lot, and I feel like these people have the loudest voices, they grew up with Star Wars, and a lot of the people that grew up with Star Wars, they like it, but they take a step back from the fandom. They raise a family, they have kids, they do that stuff, and then they enjoy Star Wars with the next generation, with their kids. And when their kids grow up, they're going to do the same thing with their kid. And it's kind of similar to what happens in wrestling. Wrestling, you grow up with it, and then your kids watch it, and then you're always going to be well, it's not the same. Back in my day, there was a different style of acting, and we had these characters like Papa Shango and the Ultimate Warrior. Now you got these people like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and then those kids grow up and they're like, well, I don't know about these characters that you have. We used to have The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and now you have Roman Reigns. So it's the same type of thing, but with Star Wars. But this is how you keep it sustained, right? Because these kids who are watching the Skeleton Crew are going to grow up to be Star Wars fans, because the same way people who watch the prequel, if you watch The Phantom Menace, that is a legit children's movie. Jar Jar Binks is literally for the kids. There's a little kid in a speedster. That is a movie for kids. That's where they get them. That's where they hook them. Then they get you. And then, as those movies get older, the kids are getting older with it too. So like when you get to Clone Wars, they're a little bit older and they can understand that. And then when they get to which Revenge of the Jedi, oh no, sorry, Revenge of the Sith, they're even older, and then you can go dark with a lot of the story on like they're fighting on Mustafar and stuff like that. And that's the formula. It does work. It is a good way to sustain um Star Wars throughout the ages. And I feel like Skeleton Crew is a great way to do that.
I like to point out that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord, and there's nothing you can do to convince me otherwise.
You know, there's a Lego episode where they go full Jar Jar Binks as like a Sith.
I love that.
There is a Star Wars Lego where Jar Jar is finally a Sith, and it's hilarious.
Bruh, he's too strong. Like,
But like, yeah, this show has Goonie elements, but like, it's not the only element that it has. It also has a lot of like Pirates of the Caribbean elements. I don't know if you feel that because like it feels like a pirate show for kids.
it is a pirate show. Like, literally, they went to a pirate spaceport in the second episode.
Even when they were like in the first episode, in the first scene where the ships are like attaching to like the other ship, it's kind of like a pirate ship putting planks on there so they can walk across or swing across. It's very pirate like, and pirates have always been part of Star Wars. Like if you watch like Clone Wars and stuff like that, we've always seen the pirates. Though it's ironic because the pirates are always coded Indian in the in the whatchamacallit, in I believe like Clone Wars and even Rebels. Because they always play like Indian music in the background when they show up, and like I guess like the West Indies, which is the Caribbean.
Correct. Yeah, I was gonna
Is
say
kind
like
of
that's
like,
how it happened.
yeah, you can see where they got that, and I think that's really cool. I know when the show started, people were like mad, like, "Oh, it's a show for kids. Who wants a show for kids?" And I'm like, just because something's a show for kids doesn't mean it can't be good. Like Miss Marvel was a show for kids, and it was good. People, if you're watching Miss Marvel expecting something like Loki or Deadpool and Wolverine, you came in with the wrong homework assignment. Like you didn't understand the assignment. Like, right? So like same thing. If you come into Skeleton Crew expecting Andor, you didn't get the right assignment. This is supposed to be a fun children's show, and they do it in such a good way. And John Watts is the creator, and he's done Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has definitely that coming of age style storytelling, which is so
Always.
well done. So I'm a big fan of like this style of Star Wars storytelling. Like I am of the opinion that Star Wars, just like Marvel, is a buffet. And sometimes there's something at a buffet you don't like, you don't eat it, right? But like you want it there so other people can have it. And I feel like this is something for a lot of people to enjoy. This is the chicken nuggets of Star Wars. And who doesn't love chicken nuggets?
I mean, I can't argue with that logic because this is really good.
Yeah. Oh man, it's really, really good. There's a lot of characters that I love, but I think my favorite character has got to be SM-33, played by Nick Frost, which I think is just such a good character, like a droid who's also a pirate. It's just so funny to me.
I mean, I have a soft spot for Neil, but like,
Well, we'll get to Neil. Neil is the heart of the story. We love Neil.
But SM-33, second favorite character. Wholeheartedly agree.
He might be my first favorite droid, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Oh, I can't say first favorite.
Who's your favorite droid?
It was the one from
Andor?
Mandalorian.
Oh, the Mandalorian. Who's the droid from Mandalorian? Oh, the one the one Taika Waititi played.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, he went out in the Blades of Glory. Shout out to him. They brought him back a little bit though, but yeah, it's a good one. The one from Andor is good too, but I don't know, man.
IG-11 was his name. That's right.
IG-11. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Nick Frost just does such a good job. Nick Frost, as you know, from like Shaun of the Dead and like so many other things, does such a good job in this, man. He just kills it. The pirate accent, everything.
Actually, you know what? Ask me next week. Maybe my opinion will change.
Ooh,
Because
okay.
also SM-33 Like, I understood like he lost his memory a bit and he started, he wasn't
Yeah.
acting, the way he was supposed to.
Oh
And it
yeah,
was
yeah.
only at the very end of episode 4 did we really see like the true SM-33.
That is
Yeah, so
true.
maybe next week or whenever we do the second half of this, my opinion might change. And I'm open
Yeah,
to that because
that
he's
is true.
really good. Yeah.
He is solid. He is great. I like that. I also love the idea of the little rat in his eye. It reminds me of like Ratatouille.
It reminds me of like a pirate with the parrot on his shoulder
Oh
always.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like a living creature there. It's like, oh cool.
The irony is that the last episode, episode 4, was directed by the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and they had a parody of Ratatouille called Raccoonatouille, and it's so funny that they also had the rat in inside here. So I wouldn't be surprised. That might be really really cool little Easter egg that we don't know about yet.
I mean,
Uh,
Raccoonatouille was really funny and everything everywhere all at once.
I know Raccoonatouille is so funny. Also we get to uh, Captain Silvo. He's the first person we see, who is later revealed to be Jod, who is later revealed to be Crimson Jack. Like, yeah, so he's got like so many aliases, which is cool because Crimson Jack is an actual character from the comics. He's in the
Mhm.
Marvel Star Wars comic, and he has run-ins with Han Solo. So he's like a real character who actually knows Han Solo, which is super cool.
Legit pirate.
Yeah, yeah, legit pirate, also known as Redbeard in the Star Wars universe. So that's really, really cool. Um, and then we meet like our main star of the show, I guess, who you think would be the main star is Wim, who lives in Atten. Wim, the actor, you may know him from Encanto. He does one of the voices in Encanto, which
That's
is
where I
really
heard the
cool.
voice. Yeah, I was like, I could
Yeah,
not place it, but yeah, okay.
you see him, and they're living in the suburbs. Yo, Star Wars has suburbs. What are your thoughts about that?
It is the most quintessential suburb I have ever seen. Like,
Yo,
you remember the intro from Weeds? It was like little boxes on the hillside, little boxes and whatever. Like, that's exactly what it reminded me of. Like, it
it
was
it
just so uniform, you know?
I never thought I'd see a cul-de-sac in Star Wars. I never thought. Who, whoever
Hey,
thought they'd see that?
but those cul-de-sacs are dope because they have like legit art and like structures in them. Like it's not a
Yeah,
boring cul-de-sac that's empty. It has like sculptures and whatnot. It's pretty cool actually.
yeah, they got like art and everything. Though it's really interesting because like if you look at the history of like how suburbs and these like little cul-de-sacs and stuff were built, they were actually built for rich, well-to-do people to move away from the city to get away from the urban ethnic people.
Yes.
And that's kinda like what this entire planet is doing. They kinda like,
They're
"Hey,"
quite literally hidden from
they're
everybody.
quite literally hidden from everyone and kinda doing that, so it's kinda interesting. So it kinda just, like, reflects the whole, like, idea of a suburb. Because like, "Hey, I don't wanna live in the city. The city is too dangerous. Let's just, like, work in the city, but, like, live somewhere safe and white."
Yeah, this whole planet's a suburb, which is kind of wild to think about. Like
The whole planet is a suburb. That's so funny. And, like, suburbs are usually, like, the architect is usually, like, paper like, cookie cutters. It's the same
yeah.
thing over and over again, right? And then they'll go and they'll do that same thing at another place and another place. And, like,
Hmm.
all the houses are, like, modular where you can just, like, connect them together and build them that way. And they're a cheap way to do it.
Yeah, like these prefab houses. You can even see it in the architecture they had. It's
Yeah,
like there's like a base skeleton of
yeah,
a house, and then they just put like windows here, some wall panels here, and then
yeah.
boom, house.
And we know that because they go into another planet called Ad Akron, and what happens is it's the exact same template. They just
Like
copied and pasted.
exact, yeah, copy paste straight up.
Yeah. No, that's really, really funny. Alright, and then as we see Wim goes to school, we see this little elephant looking kid. And like this is a new species, we never seen it, and it's our boy Neil. Neil, cute, nerdy kid, elephant trunk, little chubby. He's got his hair all like proper, and he turns around like, "You should not have come," which is a throwback to like Mustafar and
Yep.
Darth Vader. I thought that was really cool, and they're just like really into Jedi's, which is like most kids would be at that age.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really really cool, and like I was just like at this point, I'm like, I'm already in, man. This is like you got a friendship, you got these characters, there's pirates, Star Wars. Like, what else do you want?
It's quintessential suburbia life. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. And then Neil is such a good character. He got this crush on this girl named Runa.
Aw.
and like and like there's this one scene where like the other two girls they they surprise him and like tell us your crush and he goes, "It's Runa."
the voice change and they're like booming like speaker voice and
Yeah. My theory is by the end of the series, all of his character development after going on this adventure, he's gonna go back and ask out Runa. That's good. That's my boy. That's what he's gonna do.
you know, we'll get into it because what happened was it episode 3 or no, was it episode 4 where they were
At
on
four.
the at
Yeah,
Akron?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, homie got his first kiss,
He
so
did. He did get his first kiss, but I don't know. I don't know if he's ever gonna see that girl again. But you never know. You never know.
you never know.
I think that gave him the confidence to like go after his girl. Like, kind of boys, you ever like have a crush on a girl and then like somebody even hotter than that girl like tries to like holler at you and you're like, oh shit, am I handsome? Maybe I should go and have some confidence. It's all about confidence, bro.
I mean, in my experience, the girl that first kissed me on the cheek, I fell for her. And the girl I had a
Mm.
crush on the time was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Oh, okay. So you think he's gonna move on? All right, we'll
Yep.
see.
Mhm.
We'll see. All right. Neil also has like he's an older brother, so he has like takes care of his kids, even not kids, his
His
brothers.
kids
Even
kids
though,
siblings, yeah.
yeah, kids siblings, and they beat him up all the time too. He-
Quintessential coming of age show. I love it.
yeah, like it. And then we also meet Katie and Fern, who are these like kind of rebel kids who are like smarter than everyone else, which like fair. Girls do mature and are smarter than men, boys at that age. And in general, a lot of the
In
time.
general.
In general.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought that was really cool. Like they introduced them and they're just like on these speedster bikes and like they're the cool kids. Like so like Wim is this like I guess like ADHD kid whose head is always in the clouds. And then, Neil is like the sweet, polite boy. He always does everything like that he's
The
told.
nerd.
And
Yeah.
the nerd, basically. And then you got these two kids who are kind of like the rebels a little bit, who are like, a little bit more of like know what's going on. So they all meet at some point and they end up in this ship. And I like how the girls trick them into doing all the work for them.
I know, right?
That's so
Oh
funny.
my god, that was just perfect. And what was it like? Did they claim dibs or was it or
Yeah, claim these or something like that.
claimsies? Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
I love how
Like,
they all abided by those rules. Like first one to say claimsies wins,
yeah, yeah.
and they just agreed to it, like
As they should. As they should.
as they should.
Gotta respect the claimsies, bro.
Of course, it's a legitimate contract. It's legal.
Yeah, yeah. It's binding. And then they go in and they wake up this robot, which is SM-33. I heard the SM is actually for Smee, which is the pirate first lieutenant in Captain Hook.
Mhm.
That's who SM-33 is named after, which is really cool. And I like the way Firm convinced him that she's the captain now.
I am the captain now.
I am the captain now. I thought that was pretty clever. And I was like, okay, I like the way this is going. I like the way this is going. But then they end up in hyperspace and they basically get lost in space and they have to end up going to a port. And this was a great pilot episode because you're like, okay, I have everything I want. I got all the characters, I know their personalities, I'm into the story, and now we have like an actual plot. Now we know like there's something that needs to happen. They're out there, they're lost, they need to find their way back home. Kind of reminiscent of like another coming of age story, E.T. phone home. It's kind of got the same vibes. So I was really, really happy with the first episode. I thought it was a great pilot. What are your thoughts?
Phenomenal. And I really love what the ship was. Like the way it was like buried, like flipped over, and
Yeah,
like the forest grew over it.
yeah,
Uh but also the name of the ship, the Onyx Cinder. So
yeah,
cool. I
yeah. It's
love it.
cool. I love what like it had all the like dust and debris on it, but then when it went to hyperspace, you see the dust and debris just like push
Yeah,
off of it.
exactly. Just
So cool. Yeah. Yeah. I really did like that. And then we also have like the parents of these kids who are like super worried. And my theory is one of these parents is the original pirate who has the ship, who was part of the ship, who brought the ship there. What do you think?
that's a good theory, actually. But also, I don't know how that would work because this planet is part of the Great Work, right?
Yeah.
And the Great Work are projects done by, was it Lena So?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like the galactic president way back when.
Mm.
Uh but this would put it in the High Republic era.
Yeah.
And so it's somewhere like this project of this planet started somewhere between 5,000 and 200 years before the present time,
Yeah. Well,
right?
because of the coins they have, like their money
Right,
is
yeah.
like old Republic money. Yeah.
Right. So how would you land on a planet like this that's practically old, right? Like you would
Yeah.
notice something like that and
Yeah.
then hide the ship and have like a forest grow over it. Like there's something
Ah.
more here. Like it couldn't have been an original pilot who's still alive. Like it has to be a bit older, I
Um.
think.
Oh, maybe you're right. Because the thing is, I was thinking like some pirate came there and he wanted the gold, but he ended up falling in love with somebody and decided to just stay there. But then that wouldn't really explain how like all the moss and everything grew on top of the ship.
Right, yeah. And like that ship
Mm.
obviously crash landed. It was upside down.
Oh, it was upside down. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, and the people in there were dead. So
They were dead.
they were
So,
dead dead. They
some of
were
them were
skeletons.
some of them were yeah. They're well skeleton crew, right?
Yeah, so I don't buy that theory just because
Yeah,
of the way it is.
yeah,
But maybe um the ship crash landed and then the crew had a fight and there was a survivor and maybe he stuck around and then just assimilated. And then his descendants are like women, all that. Maybe
yeah.
that could work.
Well,
But
we do learn that SM-33's old captain came to Akron to find the coordinate of Aten and then crossed it out and then programmed him to forget. So
yeah,
like he can't just have died because he went out of his way to protect that planet and he went out of his way to make the robot forget. So maybe he was one of their leaders and we get to meet him in some of the future episodes.
yeah, I think it's something more of like a legacy. Like
A legacy,
I
maybe,
think
yeah.
whoever did land there, if that theory is correct, then like Wim and all them are like super far descendants of it. It's not like
Yeah.
they're the ones who landed. It's like, oh, this is a family secret that's been passed down for some time.
Yeah. It would be really cool if the person who was the owner of the ship was actually an ancestor of Fern. Therefore, she technically should be the captain of the ship.
Oh, that'd be cool too. Yeah.
Right? Cool little callback. So I would like to see that. All right. So then they go to this port and they start. This is my favorite part. He puts the gold coins in his shoes and his socks, which is, oh my God, that is hood coded. Because if you're from the hood, that's where your money was. If you grew up in the 90s before there was credit cards and stuff, you would put all your money either in your underwear or in your socks. That's just the way it is if you were a kid.
I
So
remember going to Pakistan and I was like 9 or 10. And
yeah,
my mom told me to put some cash in my socks, in my shoes. And I
you
would
gotta
walk
do that.
around like that. And
You gotta
then
do
like
that.
when we were going on the planes, like from the
Yeah,
planes to our home in Karachi,
yeah,
she told me that's how we're gonna move the money.
yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. All right. So when these kids get to the spaceport, this pirate spaceport, basically, there's a dance club, and I'm like, is this our first Strip club in space? Is that
It's not
what
the
this is?
first. I know there have been previous ones in Star Wars, but
Oh, okay.
I was gonna
Well,
say these kids are about to come of age very quickly.
I know. And this like this dancer is like, yo, this is not a place for kids. We need to get these kids out of here. They're the scum of the world are here. We need to get these kids out of here. So
Yo,
bless her heart.
whoever that dancer was, good on her.
Good
Like,
on her.
yeah, like I feel so bad the kids didn't trust her. I
I
feel like they
know.
should have.
What a nice lady
Right?
who was
Like, no
forced
matter how
into a
dark the world
profession.
is, like,
You
still
don't
care
know
about
why
the
she was
kids.
doing that. She could have been forced into
Yeah.
that, profession by her environment. People don't have choices sometimes. Who
Or
knows?
something more sinister than her environment by someone else, but then she
Yeah.
still has a heart of gold. Like, yeah, like I wanna know who that is actually.
We love this prostitute with a heart of gold. I don't even know what she does. We went from
I don't
stripper
know
to
either,
prostitute.
yeah.
She could be the manager of this establishment and be a fine,
Mhm.
upstanding citizen for all we know.
Let me look that up. Skeleton crew, woman worried about kids.
All right. Well, while you look that up, we do meet Judd in the brig.
Melna.
Melna. That's a dancer's name.
Yeah, right?
All right. So we do meet Judd in the brig, and he does have the Force, and they assume he's a Jedi, though he never says he's a Jedi. They just assume. So now we're coming to the point where there are people that are Force sensitive and have Force powers that are not Jedi. We're getting more and more out of this, which is great because we're getting further away from the Luke and Leia Skywalker family, which
Yeah.
has really been hit or miss, to be honest with you. I'm kind of over them.
I kinda still like the idea of a dynasty, but also I do want to see more, and I'm glad we're seeing more.
Yeah.
Just like that one blind one from Rogue One,
Yeah.
like that was cool. Like, yes,
That was
show
really
me
cool.
more force sensitive people that are not Jedi. Like,
That
this is
that dude,
good.
and he had a disability. It's like,
Yeah.
bro was the Daredevil of Star Wars.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, really cool. So they escape, but then they ask him to go back from SM-33, and then they go back and he gets the robot, and they do a really cool one cut scene, which I thought was really cool. Another scene is like when the kids are arguing in the ship, you can see like fighting in the background and they're trying to get him and stuff, which was so well done. And they're trying to argue whether he's really a Jedi or not. Which is interesting because like,
As
we get
kids do.
as kids do. And they're just like, how else would you do it? And they're like, there's plenty of ways. Things float in space all the time in Star Wars. I'm like, that is true. Half their things are like anti-gravity machines.
Yeah, can't argue that logic.
Yeah. I was like, all right, cool. I did like the scene where they had the fuel hoses connected to them and they go to hyperspeed and they snaps back and just messes people up. I thought that was dope. That was such a good
Yeah.
Star Wars scene.
And I love how many ships got damaged in that. I'm like,
Yeah.
thank you. Some authenticity if this was real. Like,
That was really cool. All right. So now we meet this owl called Kim. And I'm like, that's not how I expected Kim to be.
I know I did not either.
Yeah. She was an owl. They made her do the 360 head turn or the 180 head turn, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
damn, she really is an owl. And she calls him Crimson Jack now. So now that's his third name. So basically, we get to find out, and then she helps him find where Ad Atten is, based on the clues, because this place is like not found by anybody. It's
Yeah,
completely
the
hidden. Everyone
9
thinks it's a legend.
jewels of the,
Yeah.
High Republic, completely hidden.
But the way they
Well,
were able to narrow it down was because their school uniforms and stuff had clues on them, which I
yeah.
thought was really, really great. And I thought that was really cool. So the great way to do that. And then they end up on Akron. And I thought they did a complete time jump because like it looked just like their planet. And like he was like, oh, it's just like the tree in my house, but it's just grown a lot longer. And I was like, oh no, it's 100 years in the future and all their family is dead. That's what I was thinking. Which what are your thoughts?
Uh, I kind of figured out it was one of the other jewels because, like,
Uh,
I need to kind of know the lore. Yeah.
I think they kind of played with the idea that that was the thing because, like, I think Neil says something about, it being 100 years and something about, like, the Knight's Tale and stuff like that. So I think they were trying to do a little red herring, but they didn't let it sizzle long enough for us to, like, really think that that could actually be true. Um, but because, like, another movie where that actually happens is called Flight of the Navigator. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's such a good movie.
It is good. I've seen it.
It's so good, and this kid gets,
Yeah.
like, taken away from aliens, and then he comes back, but he comes back into the time jump, and even though he was an older brother, his younger brother is older than him, and he's, like,
Yeah.
in this new world and stuff, and it's just, like it's also, like, a kid's coming of age kinda story, so I was like, "Oh, man, is this where they're going?" But it turns out it was not where they're going, but it was a cool little nod to it that I thought was really cool.
Hmm.
Um, and then what do you call it? We find out a little bit about where we are right now. And I believe Neil and Wim and the crew, they're just like walking around. Poor Neil's got asthma and there's too much pollution in this planet. He's just like struggling to breathe. Poor kid. Poor kid with this elephant trunk. And they meet Hana, who is at Troyak, and she's basically like part of some child soldier Coney ring that's happening.
It's not Coney 2012 or whatever it was, man. Like,
Yo, remember
uh,
Coney? That shit was
I
wild.
remember Coney 2012, yeah, and it was amazing. It's like over like the course of a week, everyone's talking about it, and then boom, it just disappeared.
It just disappeared. It just
Yeah,
disappeared. They discredited the director. Apparently, he just like crashed out in the middle of the street and got like naked, and everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's crazy." Never mind. Even though all the stuff he documented was like still true and still happening.
yo, what happened to that? Like,
I don't know,
is
bro.
Coney still alive?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know what happened to it. People moved on. That's the sad state of the world.
Yeah, right. Just within a minute, people moved on.
It was like the Pokemon Go of like social. Like, it's
But
just
people still
crazy.
play Pokemon Go. I still see somebody like now and then just playing it.
Yeah, our friend Ski plays it all the time still. But
Oh, like I just mean like locally. Forget Ski.
uh, I, it's not as crazy as it was then though. So this is like the anti-war of Pokemon Go. It's what it feels
Yeah.
like. But yeah, and that's where Neil meets this girl, man, and like, poor guy, he's like feeling this girl a little bit, and she takes an interest in him, and then like she gives him food and stuff. And what did he do? He gives it to people who were hungry outside. What a good kid.
He's such a sweetheart. Like this is why I think he's my favorite character right now. Like
Yeah,
he has a heart of gold, and even beyond seeing all the things he's seen, he
yeah,
still wants to help everybody, which is kind of weird because Wim in the beginning was like, I just want to help people and I want to be a Jedi, right?
yeah.
But no, it's gonna be Neil. I'm calling it now.
Oh, you think Neil would have the force? That'd be crazy.
Uh-huh. I'm calling it now.
Because is a scene where like while they're in the cockpit of the ship, Neil picks up a stick and tries to move it with his hand. It's like a really
It's brief, yeah.
insignificant, subtle scene. That would be crazy.
Hmm.
Uh, though I do have one beef with Neil.
Okay.
He is a little too naive because he was kind of talking down to Hana about like war and stuff. He's like, I don't know why you're at war. I would just apologize and move on. It's like that's not how war works, bro.
But that's the beauty of it. He's such a naive child. You're right.
Right?
It doesn't work like that. But what if it did? What if you could just be like, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry," and then everyone's at peace? Like that's such a childish thing, but I still love it.
And I don't know, because like maybe it's because of the stuff that's happening right now with children and the war in the Middle East right
Yeah,
now and Palestine and Gaza, where I'm like, imagine some privileged kid from like Chicago went up from the suburbs of Chicago, went to Gaza and be like, you guys should just like apologize, and I think it'll be okay. Like that's what it felt like to me.
but I know how jarring that would be, and I know where we're at. But like hypothetically, If
Yeah,
that's all it took, would that not be nice?
it would be nice.
That's
It,
my escapism here. Like, I'm escaping from reality in Star Wars, and
that's
that's
true.
why I appreciate it so much.
The reason I think this works a little bit is because they don't really explain why they're fighting. There's no like genocide happening. It's just they stole these goats or these animals or whatever,
Yokis.
Yokis, and then they got them back. Um so I guess because of that, I can let it go. I can let it go. So it's like they're fighting over something kind of stupid instead of fighting over something like real. And I guess because it's just topical right now, so it was really hard. That's the thing, man. Because of this like genocide that's been happening for a year, I have a lot of hard time watching TV shows and not like disassociating from like what's happening in the real world. Like I see things differently. Like even the Superman trailer that dropped today, there's like a scene in like the Middle East, and I'm just like, are they doing this? Are they
Yes, they
really
are.
like like come on, man. It's like I don't know. So I guess that's just me. That's just a me thing. So like I get it. I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but it was like the one little thing that like it just bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, I can understand that because, like, the Middle East is a real place, and, like, there's, like,
Yeah,
a legit emotional connection to it.
yeah,
Uh, Here, it's a goddamn different planet with
fair,
elephant talking people, like, it's not real. Let me dissociate and have a good time.
fair. But you know what I thought was really funny? When Crimson Jack or whatever comes and he's like, "Hey, I got all of these like things for you." First of all, it was a great scene because like it proved that these kids are actually brave. Like even though they're scared, they were actually brave enough to like walk through it and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. But then he comes in with all of like the herd, and apparently he used the money he stole from Wim to buy them. But then he's like, "I'll just take the kids," and I'm like, from a storyline perspective, like, "Oh, that's great," but like if I was the person in there, I'd be like, "Hold up, yo, why does like middle-aged man want 4 kids?" I
Yeah.
would I would be like, "No, sir, these children cannot go with you. Who are
Yeah.
you? Are you their father? Are you related to them?"
Yeah. I will wholeheartedly agree with that.
It's
But
like they
then
all
when Neil and Wim went up to and hugged him, and then he hugged him
yeah,
back, I was like,
yeah.
"Okay, alright."
But they agreed to it before they did that, and I was kinda just like, "Bro, that's sus." You just sold 4
Very
kids
sus.
into, like, child slavery for all you know.
Yeah, but then also, like, knowing what they said earlier in that episode, which is that we honor our children,
Yeah,
if they got any hint of it, like, that dad would have been like, "Okay, it's game time. We came here for
yeah.
war. We're going to war."
That's true. At first, I was like, you know what? That's messed up that they have these like child soldiers and stuff. But then when you think about it, like Ahsoka was literally a child, and she was probably Hayna's age,
All
and I'm
Jedi are child soldiers.
pretty much all the Jedi's are like child soldiers.
Straight up, they take them when they're like babies and like train them in the Force instead of like younglings. Like they're literal child soldiers.
Yeah, yeah. Like Crimson Jack is probably the lucky one who Jedi thing he probably kept secret for such a long time.
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah. Like let's accept the fact there that the Jedi are a cult.
yeah, Jedi's are definitely a cult. All right, so Neil gets his kiss. They go into the tower. They find all of the written coordinates, and that's where SM-33 flips out. And he's like, "Yeah, if anybody comes asking about it, I'm supposed to kill them." And he gets like all big, and he actually gets physically bigger. And as he's trying to hurt all these people, little Neil throws like a little rock and saves everybody.
My man.
Yo, we like Neil.
My
He tried to
favorite character.
he tried to like mansplain a little about war to people, but other than that, he's great.
He's a child who doesn't know
That is
better.
true. That is true. He's a child who doesn't know better. We like him. We like him.
It's so
Uh,
cute.
we do like him. Then they turned off the robot, but not before Fern was like crashing out, and she's like, "I shouldn't be captain. I don't know what I'm doing." This scene was incredible. This girl who
Yeah.
can act, because I was like, "Oh man, you forget they are kids," and she's like, "I don't know
They're
what I'm doing."
kids. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she remembers how she tricks her house robot droid to lie for her, and she uses that logic to override the algorithm inside the robot's head and got him to remember his memories.
And unfortunately, that triggered the whole attack sequence.
That didn't trigger the attack sequence, but still, they were able to figure out, and hopefully they can get home. I'm really excited. This is only halfway through, and there's so much happening. But every episode leaves me satisfied. That's the thing, man. When I watch a lot of these other shows, like the Marvel and Disney shows, every episode does not leave me satisfied. It's like, oh, they just found a spot to stop, and they stopped. But this is like a full moment where I'm just like really happy with each episode, and I really, really like it. And that's how I felt with the Penguin. That's how I felt about like, some of these other shows like Rings of Power.
God,
But
Penguin
something that
was so good.
but Disney just can't do this well. And I'm happy to see they're finally able to do a TV show that feels like a TV show.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Like, and one other thing I love about these shorter shows, like
Yeah.
this is an 8 episode show, right?
Right.
I think 8 episodes is great. I think 6 was too little.
Yeah. It's just way too
I
little.
would hope for 10, but 8 is a good middle ground there, right?
Yeah.
The pacing in the show, so far so good. Like, I am
Yeah.
completely satisfied with that.
Yeah. Like each episode feels like a chapter, right? Like
Mhm.
it ends. There's the conclusion. So I do really, really like it. The visuals are really like E.T., Goonies, like it's just so nostalgic, and like, yeah, they're using nostalgic, but they're doing it in a good way with a new fresh story. So I really do enjoy it.
And they put attention to detail. Like, when we were at Atten,
Yeah.
like, you could see those homes, you could see the windows and people inside. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't like skimp out on details. Like, they made it feel like it's a real place.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It is. It's basically the suburbs from E.T. turned into Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
I totally get that. Yeah, man. This is probably, I don't know how much Star Wars has come out, but this is probably my favorite Star Wars in a long time.
This is my second favorite Star Wars like
Really?
TV show. Yeah.
What's the first? I mean, like, 'cause, like, like
You
in
know
a
it's
long time.
Andor.
Yeah, but Andor was such a long time ago.
Wasn't it like last year?
No, Andor was like 2 years ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah, maybe a little over 2 years. Andor was a while
What?
ago. Yeah, Andor's still my favorite too, but I haven't seen a good Star Wars in a long time because the Ahsoka show. It was good, but it wasn't like amazing. The last season of The Mandalorian was good, but it also wasn't amazing. Acolyte, I think, was hit or miss. So I don't know.
Oh, season 1 was 2022.
Yeah, and we're going to 2025 right now.
Fuck.
Yeah, right. So it was a while ago.
But that means Andor's coming out next year in April.
Andor is coming out next year. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Andor is
I-
definitely my favorite. But like, I don't know, man. This is enjoyable. It's like digestible, and it's
Yeah.
fun. And I just really, really am enjoying this. I love the characters. I love KD and like her goggles and like,
Oh, KD is such a vibe, man.
we didn't get to talk about her a lot, but I really like her too.
Yeah.
When like, I love that, like, when like things are blasting off, she just stands there and doesn't even move. Or like when she's like in bed, she's staying up and she's like, I'm calculating the odds, which is like, she may be like autistic coded or something, but like I really do think that she is a fun character and she's a really good character. Like,
She's brilliant.
Wim has ADHD. She might have like might be autistic. So they have like these characters, and like, we got the nerd with the inhaler and asthma, and you got the
And
little
the
bit of the
rebel, cool
rebel.
girl. Yeah.
I like these archetypes, and it's like fun to see them in young Star Wars. I don't know. It's fun.
I'm having a good time. I like this show. I can't wait to see the rest of it.
Yeah. So we'll do like a part 2, or maybe we'll wait till 2 more episodes drop and then we'll do another one. But we'll see how we feel about it. But so far, we're liking it. Let us know in the comments how you feel about it. By the way, our Spotify now has a comment section. So like, if you listen to us on Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. You can literally leave comments after every episode. So let us know what you think about this episode. Let us know what you talk about it. And on the next episode, we will read out all the comments and react to them. Also, if you're on YouTube right now or Twitch and you are watching this, leave comments and we'll react to them. We are back, baby. We took a little bit of a hiatus. December we usually crash out. Which is pretty normal for us every December.
Yeah, we just happened to crash out a bit earlier this time.
Yeah, we crashed out a little bit earlier and we took a little bit break, but we are back. And we both gone through a little bit of tough times, but
We'll get
tough
through
time. Yeah, tough times make tough people. So that's the way it works. But everybody, listen, I just want to say we've been doing this for almost 4 years. We love you guys. We love the people that come on.
it.
I was
Has it been
checking.
4 years?
I think either 4 or 3. I don't remember. Did we start during COVID or at the end of COVID?
No, it definitely was like 2022 when we started. There's no way. It's only been like 2 years, my God. Or yeah,
Oh my
it's only been
God.
2 years.
Did I go through a time loop? Like, am I? I feel like
Yeah.
I remember the idea of the podcast started during COVID.
Yes, and I remember meeting you at UPNA in 2021 in Orlando.
We didn't have a podcast back then.
Right, and I know we started in January of a year. That was very likely 2022, man.
That's good. That's good. And by the way, I don't know if people have noticed this. While we were away, something amazing happened. We hit over 10K on YouTube.
Oh, snap.
We are over 10K.
So it's all of 2022, all of 2023, all of 2024. We're going into our 4th year. It's been 3 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
We're in 4th year residency here on YouTube.
Gotta love it.
We will be going into fellowship next year. Who knows?
Yeah, right. We'll finally launch Haram Nerds and all the other things you want to do.
Listen, Haram Nerds is coming. Haram Nerds is coming.
I love how we keep teasing people with that and just never follow through on it.
We've been talking about Haram Nerds since Haram Nerds and Rister Bros. We've been talking about since the first episode.
Yeah, right.
And it has not come to fruition. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. We love you guys. We love all the comments. We love everyone who supports us. I know there's a lot of people out there who listen to our podcast, but they don't interact with us, and we don't really know who you are because you don't really comment and stuff. We love you too. We appreciate you guys.
Yes,
we got
do.
the Spotify wrap up, and there are a bunch of you who listen to us religiously. We're on #1 for at least 50 people. I don't know who you 50 people are, but we love you.
We gotta do like a hangout one day, man. Just invite all these people. Just meet up somewhere.
I know. We really should. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and until next time, guys, Salaam, nerds.
Peace.